I started a stream with the goal of making 3 tavern maps. Taverns are ever present in D&D, so having a couple maps that you can just chuck out and say to the party, yeah, you're here, is really useful. On top of this, we wanted to give them a little bit of backstory, a little bit of history, a notable NPC or two, so the DM can have a half page of information they can look over and go, yeah, I get what's going on here. So when the party starts to ask questions, they can give them really solid answers. When making the first tavern though, a suggestion came through that allured me. It intrigued me. It was a little bit more than just a suggestion for a tavern, but I said, no, I am just making a tavern map. I am not going to make a quest. Well, this is the video for the quest I made off the back of that suggestion, a quest about a monster hunting guild, a guild which has its own entire quest line now, so good work me, really succeeded on my just make a map goal. If you want to throw in such hot suggestions that I make quests from them even when I am actively trying not to, come into the Twitch where you can do just a thing. And if you want access to this quest or the map or any quest I make, check out the Patreon. Also subscribe to the channel for more weekly content just like this. And with that, let's talk about the quest I accidentally made. So let's talk about the chat message that spurred the quest making to come. Perhaps we should make the Silverworm Tavern, a tavern kind of in the middle of nowhere, where the Ends watch an organization that seeks out corruption, and the evil of the world. That's great. I love that. That's the sort of thing that we're going to be doing. And I think we're going to have 3 sort of taverns, and that's definitely one. The first proper break in the quest creation dam was when poor young naive me thought, hey, why don't we flesh out the Ends Watch just a little, just for some backstory. This definitely won't blossom into a full-blown organization. What I'm thinking is like, this tavern could maybe be at the end of the world, and when the party arrive, this group is actually like moving through the tavern. Maybe they do have, maybe we do lean on that second one where there is a little bit of a base here, but they're doing something in the nearby forests, and the Ends Watch are here because of that. They're like come to near this place and are at this tavern for those reasons, which would explain why there's some tents outside. As that clip progressed, I moved from the Ends Watch passing through the tavern to having the tavern as a semi-outpost for them, and this lore would continue to move in that same direction. This is where the snowball from a simple map to actual quest would happen properly. This was meant to be a simple tavern map, existing in the ether, home to no specific location, but I was tempted by my own creation and couldn't help but slide it into the world map we had. We can consider placing it on our world map somewhere. And I think this would be good for Antiquenia. You know, Antiquenia is definitely like absolutely... Did I already have one of these up? No. Antiquenia is kind of like a bulbous big kahung, right? There are a lot of places that we need to fill out in Antiquenia. And it's like, I wanted to just make a tavern map. I was like, Alex, you're just making a tavern map today, nothing more. But hey, get a hold of this message, ring a ding ding. This could be like an interesting quest. TBH. I don't want to drop a TBH on you, but this could be an interesting quest. And like maybe here, right? This little town here. Could be interesting. And I'm actually going to commit to that idea because I'm a bad boy like that. And I think we could, that's such a bulbous stamp. It's so much bigger than what I want, but there we go. Yeah, I think this could actually just be like a little tavern. As we went back to the tavern map, my own self-awareness was in full swing as I could see the rabbit hole opening up and my own desires telling me to jump right in. But yeah, let's think about making an actual quest from this. And as I said, it can be pretty simple. Usually I like to have sort of dimensions and factionalism in my quests, and I'm gonna say I'm not gonna do that, and I 100% will, because that's just how I get down. That's just how I do. I can't help it. It's just natural. It's my inherent style. Now I will say I did resist the urge. I challenged myself to make this a simple, single quest line quest. The party are asked to kill a baddie, they kill the baddie, they get high fives, and that is what the quest becomes. This does not mean, however, that there isn't going to be some interesting elements for the DM and the party to play around with. Enter our first NPC. Randomizer, randomizer, what are we gonna get? Oh, fuck yes. Yes, this tavern is owned by 3 frog creatures. This is why we do the randomizer. I never would have done that. We gave them a pretty simple backstory. They are from the forest, but have come out to run the tavern as before it was run terribly. Before expanding out their backstory more, we landed on a more holistic lore for the End's Watch and the reason for the Silver Vern's existence, which is the tavern. I don't think I've mentioned that yet. It's called the Silver Vern. Maybe the Watch ends can be all over Antiquenia, and they track down the different forests. And this tavern was specifically created as like a stopping point that basically the Watcher's End could easily access this forest. And the Grung, our friends, have come out of the forest and like kind of work with the Watcher's End pretty purposefully and like give them information and like resources about these forests, this specific forest. And they have a good relationship there. I really like that as a basis for like this tavern because I don't want it to be a part of a town. I've said this multiple times. I don't want this to be part of a town. I want it to be sort of an isolated tavern. So why would people be coming here? Well, the Watchers End specifically know this is how they get access to the forest. I think that works. Back to the Grung, we made them a specific collective which was more affable than their antagonist Grung counterparts. They have a particularly close and long-lasting relationship with the End's Watch and took over the tavern when it was in disrepair, specifically so they could make it super well run again, bringing back the guild. As their lack of presence in the tavern meant their forest wasn't being protected as much, and this meant evil was running amok around their homes. With this, we bounced over to make really simple one-sentence bios for each of the Grung, who Clueless cleverly named Rigo, Rago, and Rogo. Great, there's a little write-up here. Perfect. Okay, awesome. We'll use this. Tracy, this can be Rigo. Rigo is a 45-year-old personal trainer who enjoys camping, binge-watching box set, and theater. He is friendly and reliable, but also very rude and a bit grumpy. Awesome. I only wanted to give them one-sentence bios each because I was actively trying to make this a much more stripped-back and simple quest document. With this said, there's still good stimulus here and certainly more than enough to make a quest, but it's not filled to the brim or bursting with lore. With our tavern-owning NPCs in the books, we gave the End's Watch some more history and pulled up the randomizer to give them an NPC. Okay, Watchers End. We write a paragraph about their current leadership later, but we don't need to do that right now. Unless we do the current leadership right now. So yeah, let's do that. Let's go back to our randomizer as I like using. Randomizer. What character will we get? I don't know why I was so slow in doing that. Whoa! Okay, Molos. We made Molos a nice and respected leader of the Silverworm outpost who likes those under him to have a good time and feel cared for. He's a long life member of the guild and is dedicated to killing evil monsters, a simple description. With another NPC done and dusted, we worked to figure out the possible quest line. I think it's pretty simple. The party can either be like in one of the main cities, like they can either be like over here or over here, and they're like, hey, there's like a quest that you could do at this tavern over here if you want. It's like a go defeat some evil people. Like, go from here to talk to them. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it could also just be if the party rock up to this place for whatever reason, then this exists. But I definitely think it's like one of those quests where we can have it in a main city and send them to a new location. And I think that'll make it feel much more realistic that it's like they're in a big city and they're like looking at, you know, a notice board or whatever, or asking like people, is there anything? And they're like, hey, if you want to do a quest where you kill monsters, go to the Watcher's End. This is the closest one. That's probably a pretty good place to do it. I think is a really good introduction and is something that for these big cities, especially, we want to have more than one quest. These small towns, one quest, once it's done, they can leave. The big cities, we want to have a lot of different quests. So, you know, having these smaller, like pretty linear combat quests that can be accessed from the big cities is going to make it feel like there's 4 or 5 things to do in the city, and means you can like have your campaign set in this city or extend or like, you know, spend quite a lot of time in a massive city like one of these two places are. As we went, I also figured it probably made sense to have this quest within its own quest line. I think there could also be like a quest line that like involves the Watcher's End more. And I don't think it would be the first quest. I think it would be like maybe the second or third quest, as in like, you know, the party get a trial quest first, and this is like maybe one that they've been sent on to do a little bit. At it from the perspective of the party are like becoming a part of the Watcher's End. I know it's a little weird to write a quest where it's like the second or third in a series, but I think this is probably what this quest actually is. With much of the quest figured out, we needed to talk about the villain. Yeah, usually I very much like try to create characters where there's redeemability. There's something about them that you can be like, I'm a little bit sympathetic, even if I disagree, or like I definitely want to destroy them or anything. It's like, I can kind of see where they're coming from. I think this quest, just some motherfucking monster, right? Whether it's an actual monster or, you know, a reprehensible individual on a million levels. Like, it's just the Watcher's End, the party come here, and they're like, hey, we just need your help. Or like they've been hired, or they join the Watcher's End or anything like this. We just need to kill this absolute villainous individual. And the party are like, okay. And they come in and they're like, die. And then they do it and they get high fives and cash. That's the quest. That's the quest. As I didn't want to have divergent quest lines or possible factions the party can side with depending on who they ideologically agree with, I wanted an enemy who was undeniably evil and worth killing. An enemy we would give the barest of personality, no written quest line to redeem them, or even hear out their perspective. This would lead us to using Clueless' suggestion of having an evil bard in the woods who charms people and keeps them as slaves. It's the party's job to kill this dude who's called Pinky Ring. When writing this out, a part of me was like, but what if there is an evil quest line where the party work with this evil bard character who charms people? And I was like, no. It's an evil dude. They kill the evil dude. Despite the straightforward narrative, I still wanted to make the battle encounter have a little bit of moral decision making. I can't help myself. I think something that could be interesting as a combat encounter is that the women attack the party as well, right? Because they're charmed and he's like, fuck, I'm being attacked. So they attack him as well, but the party know that they're like enslaved and under the effects of charms. So there's like a difficulty in that, like, the party need to attack the main guy, but they're like, do they just kill the enslaved people because they're attacking them? Or like, do they actively just like take the hits from these people and don't strike down these like easier to kill, but you know, innocent individuals that like need to be saved and not killed? I think that makes for like a beefed up encounter, but is like, brings a moral decision to the battle encounter that is a little bit more than just go and kill some people. So I think that's what we'll do instead. I've used the idea of having the party be attacked by people the party shouldn't attack back before, and I think it really adds more dimensions and tensions to an encounter that simply, at the end of it, is just kill an evil NPC. In terms of the map and the enemy character sheets, I made a video where they get talked about a bit, but the general summary is that I made an open forest map that allows the party to choose where they approach from, but also gives them the possibility to talk to some of the enslaved before the fight. I think this actually adds like an interesting dynamic of like, maybe they can get them to escape or like run away so they're actually not in the fight. Or maybe they can get like information from them. We also gave Pinky Ring a powerful charm spell they can use every turn on the party on top of their regular attack. I really like the idea of having an evil bard that can charm every single turn as an action, as well as like using a bow. So they're not necessarily doing a lot of damage to the party. I mean, 2d8 plus 3 is damage, but the main thing that they are trying to do is just turn the party and have them attack each other, along with having all the sort of people that they've enslaved attack the party as well. So it should be a very difficult fight, but not because this old mate is so dangerous or so strong themselves. What makes them strong is their charm abilities. And I really like that as an enemy. The fight is the party against themselves and not the actual person they're fighting. With everything complete, we had another building on our world map equipped with a quest, continuing the great progress we are making for our SandBox campaign. I don't often make quests where there really is only one outcome, but in this case, I think it turned out really well. I'm also really pleased that there is some decision making and some variation that can happen throughout the quest, even if the end result is always going to be pretty much the same. On top of this, I think the guild and NPCs we created are interesting if the DM and the party want to sink their teeth into some lore and backstory. It's an engaging narrative. It's not just straightforward, boring, go kill that bad guy. If you want to tear into this quest, impressing your friends and family alike, then jump on the Patreon, and thank you for everybody who already has. I really, really appreciate it. Also, check out the Twitch if you want to make stuff like this live, and if you're thinking, hey, this is great content, I love this, I wish there was one of these a week, well, you're in luck, because there is. Subscribe to the channel and you will get access to my once a week videos that do this. Great, perfect, nailed it, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye!